Caligula. Remember when I told you that you needed to shut up while I was recording? Do you remember when I said that? Hey, it's Sue in the restricted section. Today I wanted to talk about some of the oldest books on my shelves because I made a goal for myself this year to read as many of them as possible, and some of these books I've had since I was a child and still haven't read them. So I'm just gonna go through and show you all the ones I have. I made a shelf just for those books on my bookshelf. And I'm not gonna I don't have like a set number that I want to read in the year. I just want to kind of prioritize those books. So here they are. First I have the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. I actually am planning to buddy read this one with Jessica and Christina from Game of Tomes next month. We've already tabbed it out and everything and planned it. We read The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit together last year, so we're gonna try this one out. I've heard it's pretty dry through like the first half, but that it gets really good, so hopefully we'll enjoy it. Next I have Firestarter by Stephen King. And I've had this since I was in middle school. I got it deleted from my middle school library, and I never read it. Next is The Professor and the Madman by Simon Winchester, and this is a tale of murder, insanity, and the making of the Oxford English Dictionary. And I bought this when I was in college, I think, which was like 8 years ago, and still haven't read it. Next I have The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Also bought this in college. Next is King Leopold's Ghost by Adam Hochschild, a story of greed, terror, and heroism in colonial Africa. And I was supposed to read this for my world history class in college, and I read part of it. Never finished it. Next I have Emma by Jane Austen. I bought this in college, and I remember it distinctly because I ordered Jane Eyre, which I needed for a class, on Amazon, and they sent me Emma by Jane Austen, and I just said fuck it and kept it. Next I have A Father's Law by Richard Wright. This was, I think, the last book he had published. I think maybe it was published posthumously, and that's another one I bought in college. Next I have Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. I don't know how long I've owned this, but it's been many years. Next I have Captains Courageous by Rudyard Kipling. Again, don't know how long I've had this, but it's a long time. Next I have Spin by Robert Charles Wilson, and this is a sci-fi novel, and I think I've owned it since I was in college. It was kind of when I was first starting to get into sci-fi. I looked up like what are the best sci-fi books, and I bought some of them, and this was one of them. Next I have Moby Dick by Herman Melville. You'll notice there's a lot of classics in this pile because I tend to buy them and then not read them for some reason, even though I usually end up really enjoying them. Next I have Foundation by Isaac Asimov, classic sci-fi novel. Next I have Girl with a Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier. This is one of my favorite movies, so that's why I bought the book. And I think I bought it when I was in college once again. Next is Snow Falling on Cedars by David Guterson. I think I bought this maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, so it's one of the younger ones in this pile. Next I have The Interestings by Meg Wolitzer. This one again I think is like 4 or 5 years old. Next I have The Lost Queen of Egypt by Lucille Morrison, and I think I've had this since I was in high school. So it said it was deleted from Ava High School library. I don't remember taking it from my library, but I guess I did. Next I have Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. And yes, I duct taped this book back together. I don't know where, well, this used to be my sister's obviously because it says property of Tina Cummins inside it. But yeah, it's been through some shit. So who knows how long this has been around. Next I have one that I am kind of wondering if I should even read it. It's Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz. I think this is like some sort of part of a big series if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, I'm just wondering if it'd be worth my time, but I might give it a shot. And I don't know how long I've had this, probably since college. Next, this one gets made fun of a lot and this author gets made fun of, but some people really like him, so I thought I'd give it a chance, and that's The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. Next I have Ghost Soldiers by Hampton Sides. This is the forgotten epic story of World War II's most dramatic mission, and I actually think this is my boyfriend's book. and I'm pretty sure he's had it the whole time we've been together, so that's like 8 years. Next I have Travels with Charlie by John Steinbeck. This is also my boyfriend's book, so it's probably at least as old as that last one. Next I have Poems by Emily Dickinson, and I think I've read bits and pieces of this, but I've never read the entire thing, and I think I bought this in college. Next I have John Dies at the End by David Wong. I actually read the sequel to this a few years ago and then realized that it was a sequel and went out and bought this one, but I still haven't read it. Next I have Lucifer's Hammer by Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle, and this is another one of the sci-fi books I picked up because it was, you know, supposed to be one of the best sci-fi books ever. So yeah, I had that since college, I think. Next I have Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. And again, I think I've had this since college. Next I have Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Had since college again. Next I have Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. Not sure how long I've had this, a few years at least. Next I have The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, which for some reason I never had to read in high school. Seems like everyone else did. I've had this since college again, I think. Next I have Life of Pi by Jan Martel. Again, I've had this probably since college. Next I have The Jagged Orbit by John Brunner. And this is just some random sci-fi novel that I picked up at a used bookstore forever ago. Next I have The Emperor of All Maladies, a biography of cancer by Siddhartha Mukherjee. I think I got this on sale at Barnes & Noble at least 5 years ago, probably. Next I have The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury, and I know I got this from Book Outlet, so it's probably not as old as some of these other ones, but it's been around a while. Next I have Look Homeward Angel by Thomas Wolfe. This is also my boyfriend's, so it's probably at least like 8 years old. And next I have The Vor by B. Catling, and I've heard this book is really fucking weird, and maybe not in a good way, but I still want to try it out. I got this at Barnes & Noble again just many years ago, just picked it up because it looked interesting. I'd never heard of it at the time. Next I have Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I tried to read this several years ago and ended up putting it down because I thought it was super boring, but I thought I might give it another shot, but I don't know if I'll enjoy it or not. It's a ghost story thing. And then lastly, I have The Last of the Mohicans by James Fenimore Cooper. Another one I picked up at Barnes & Noble forever ago. So there they are. There's all the oldest books on my bookshelf. Hopefully you'll see me reading several of those this year. Let me know if, you know, you guys have read some of these and what you think of them. If there's any that you think maybe aren't worth my time, then let me know. And that's it. There'll be some links below where you can find myself and Megan other places on the internet. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!